The wedding day had finally come. Everyone in the village gathered under the big tree. Drums were playing. Children were dancing. The groom stood waiting with a smile. Then Amina appeared in her white dress. She looked beautiful. The crowd clapped and cheered. But then something strange happened. Amina walked toward the red carpet that led to her groom. She stopped. Her feet would not move. Everyone went quiet. "Step forward, daughter," her mother whispered. But Amina stared at the carpet. Inside the red threads, she saw something. Tiny symbols were moving like little snakes. They glowed and then disappeared. Her heart began to beat fast. "What is wrong with you?" someone shouted. Amina tried to speak, but no words came out. She reached her hand toward the carpet. Her fingers got close. Then everything went black. She fell to the ground. People screamed. The groom ran to her side. But Amina did not wake up. Her hand was still reaching toward the carpet, just 1 inch away. If you're watching this video, please like, subscribe to the channel, and tell me in the comments where you're watching my folktale story from. I want to know how far it has traveled. When Amina woke up, she was in her bed. Her mother sat beside her, crying. "Why did you shame us?" her mother asked. Amina did not know what to say. Outside, people were talking. They were not angry at the carpet. They were angry at her. "Mama Sua made that carpet with her own hands," one woman said. "She is the best tailor in all the villages. Every bride she helps is blessed." Another woman agreed. "My daughter wore Mama Sua's dress, and now she has 3 healthy children." The groom's family was upset too. "Our son has been dishonored," his mother said. "This wedding cannot continue until the bride is fixed." Amina heard everything. She felt small and afraid. Then Mama Sua herself came to visit. She was an old woman with kind eyes and a soft voice. "Do not worry, child," Mama Sua said, touching Amina's forehead. "I will help you. We will fix your spirit before the wedding happens again." Amina wanted to believe her. But deep inside, something felt wrong. Amina could not stay in the house. She needed air. She walked to the river where the water was calm. She sat on a rock and looked at her reflection. The water was clear and still. But then something changed. Her reflection began to shake. It was not the wind. Amina leaned closer. Behind her reflection, she saw another face. It was a woman wearing a veil. The woman's lips moved. "Don't follow the thread," she whispered. Amina's heart jumped. She spun around fast. But no one was there. Only trees and grass. She looked back at the water. Her reflection was normal again. "Am I going crazy?" she thought. Her hands were shaking. She wanted to run home. But her legs felt heavy. She sat back down and closed her eyes. "Don't follow the thread." The words kept repeating in her mind. What thread? What did it mean? Amina did not know. But she knew one thing. That voice was real. And it was trying to warn her. Amina needed answers. She went to see the old women who kept the village records. "I want to know about the brides who came before me," she said. The women looked at each other. One of them pulled out a thick book. It was old and dusty. Inside were names of brides and their wedding dates. Amina read through the pages. Everything seemed normal at first. But then she noticed something strange. Some names were crossed out with black charcoal. Not erased. Crossed out. What happened to these women? Amina asked. The women went quiet. They left, one of them said. Left where? Amina asked. No one answered. She counted the crossed-out names. There were 6. 6 brides. All from the last 20 years. Amina's stomach turned. As she walked out, a small boy ran up to her. "My grandmother says you should stop asking questions," he said. "Why?" Amina asked. The boy looked around to make sure no one was listening. Then he whispered, "She says don't ask about the stitched ones." Then he ran away. That night, Amina could not sleep. When she finally closed her eyes, the dreams came. She saw herself standing in front of a mirror. But in the dream, she was wearing a veil. The veil began to smoke. Then it caught fire. She tried to pull it off, but it stuck to her skin. She screamed. Then the dream changed. She was standing on the red carpet. But the carpet was not red anymore. It was bleeding. Real blood poured from the threads and covered her feet. She tried to run, but she could not move. Then she saw words burning in the air. One must return before the 7th sun. The numbers glowed like fire. Amina woke up screaming. Her mother ran into the room. "You are sick," her mother said. But Amina was not listening. She looked down at her wedding dress hanging on the wall. There, on the sleeve, was a mark. The same mark from her dream. Burned into the fabric. She had never seen it before. The next morning, Amina went to Mama Sua's workshop. She wanted to see the woman for herself. When she arrived, the place was full of people. Women were laughing and talking. They all had cloth in their hands. "Mama Sua, you are a blessing," one woman said. "My husband loves me more since I wore your wrapper." Another woman nodded. "My life changed after my wedding. Everything Mama Sua touches brings good fortune." Amina watched from the corner. Everyone loved Mama Sua. They trusted her completely. Amina felt alone. Maybe she was the problem. Maybe she was crazy like people said. Then she saw something that made her freeze. A young woman was thanking Mama Sua with tears in her eyes. "You saved my marriage," the woman said. Mama Sua smiled and hugged her. But as the woman turned to leave, Amina saw her face change. The woman's smile disappeared. She held her chest like something hurt inside. She winced but said nothing. Then she walked out quickly. Amina's heart began to race again. That woman was in pain. But she was hiding it. Amina could not stop thinking about what she saw. That night, she sneaked back to the village square where the red carpet was kept. It was stored in a wooden box near the chief's house. Amina opened the box carefully. The carpet lay folded inside. It looked normal. Just red fabric with golden edges. But Amina remembered the symbols she saw. She lifted the carpet and turned it over. That was when she saw it. The inside lining had something sewn into it. She touched it. It was not thread. It was hair. Human hair. Amina's hands shook. She pulled at the lining carefully. Inside were dozens of thin strands. Each strand had tiny symbols carved into it. Symbols she did not understand. Her stomach turned. She felt sick. This was not normal. This was something evil. "What are you doing, child?" a voice said behind her. Amina jumped. She turned around. Mama Sua stood there in the moonlight. She was smiling. But her eyes were cold. "I was just looking," Amina said. "Looking for what?" Mama Sua asked, stepping closer. Amina ran. She did not stop until she reached the house of Elder Nyako. Nyako was the oldest woman in the village. She was blind, but people said she could see things others could not. Amina knocked on the door. "Come in, girl," Nyako's voice called from inside. Amina entered. The old woman sat by a small fire. "You have questions," Nyako said. "How did you know?" Amina asked. "Because I had the same questions once," Nyako said. She told Amina to sit. Then she began to speak. "Many years ago, I was supposed to marry. Mama Sua made my wedding cloth. But the night before, I saw the truth. I saw the symbols. I saw the hair." Amina's eyes went wide. "What did you do?" she asked. "I pretended to die," Nyako said. "I drank a poison that made me sleep like death for 2 days. My family buried me. But I woke up and dug myself out. I stayed hidden until the curse passed." "Curse?" Amina whispered. Nyako nodded. "You are not the first to see it, child. But you must be the last. The first bride holds the key. She is still here, but not living." Amina spent the next 3 days searching. She went through old records. She talked to elders who remembered the past. Slowly, the truth appeared. Over the last 20 years, 6 brides had disappeared. All of them wore garments made by Mama Sua. No one talked about it. People forgot. Or maybe they chose to forget. Amina wrote down the names. Ife. Abina. Kemi. Yatund. Neka. And then one more name that made her blood turn cold. Zainab. Zainab was her mother's cousin. Amina remembered her. She was beautiful and kind. She got married when Amina was very small. But after the wedding, Zainab was never seen again. She moved to another village, people had said. But now Amina knew the truth. Zainab never left. None of them did. They were taken. Taken by something connected to Mama Sua's work. Amina's fear turned into anger. She would not let this happen again. She would not be the 7th bride. She would fight. Amina decided to try something. She put on the veil that Mama Sua had given her for the wedding. She stood in front of the mirror in her room. At first, nothing happened. Then slowly, her reflection began to change. Her eyes looked empty. Like there was no life inside them. She wanted to look away, but she could not move. Then she saw her. A girl standing behind her in the mirror. The girl's mouth moved. "You will be the 7th," the girl whispered. Amina tried to scream, but no sound came out. Her body felt frozen. The girl in the mirror reached out her hand. Her fingers touched the back of Amina's neck. Amina felt cold. So cold she thought she would die. Then suddenly, the mirror cracked. The sound broke the spell. Amina ripped off the veil and threw it across the room. She fell to her knees, breathing hard. Her hands were shaking. Her heart was pounding. She looked at the veil on the floor. It was smoking. Just like in her dream. She would never wear it again. The village elders called a meeting. They said Amina was bringing shame to her family. "She refuses to marry," one elder said. "She disrespects our traditions." Amina tried to explain. She told them about the hair in the carpet. About the crossed-out names. About the brides who disappeared. But no one believed her. "You are speaking lies against Mama Sua," the chief said. "She is a good woman who has served this village for years." Mama Sua stood up. She looked sad. "I think the girl is jealous," she said softly. "Some women fear love. They fear commitment. It makes them see evil where there is only good." The people nodded. They believed her. Amina's mother cried with shame. "Please, daughter, just apologize," she begged. But Amina refused. The elders made their decision. "You will leave the village until you repent," the chief said. "You will stay in the old hut near the forest. When you are ready to honor your family, you may return. Amina packed her things. As she walked to the forest, people whispered and pointed. She was alone now. The hut they sent her to was old and broken. It used to belong to Elder Nyako. Amina was angry. She took the red carpet with her to the forest. She would destroy it herself. That night, she built a fire outside the hut. She threw the carpet into the flames. "Burn," she whispered. "Burn and release them." But something strange happened. The carpet did not burn. The fire touched it, but the threads did not catch. There was no smoke. No smell. The flames just danced around it. After an hour, Amina pulled the carpet out. It was still perfect. Not even warm. She tried again. And again. But nothing worked. Finally, she gave up. She went inside the hut and lay on the old mat. She closed her eyes and cried. When she woke up the next morning, she screamed. The red carpet was back. It was folded neatly in the corner of the room. But she had left it outside. She ran to check. The fire pit was empty. No ashes. No cloth. Nothing. Then she looked at her sleeping mat. Under her pillow were ashes. Just a small handful. Cold and gray. The carpet had returned. And it left her a message. The next day, Amina was walking near the market when she saw an old woman limping. The woman was carrying a heavy basket of cloth. She stumbled and dropped it. Pieces of fabric fell everywhere. "Let me help you," Amina said. She bent down and picked up the cloth. But when she touched one piece, she froze. There, sewn into the corner, was the same symbol. The same cursed mark she had seen in the red carpet. "Where did you get this?" Amina asked. The old woman smiled. "From Mama Sua. She is so kind. She gave it to me after my husband died. She said it would ease my pain." Amina's heart sank. "And did it?" she asked. The woman nodded. "Oh yes. I feel lighter now. Like part of me is floating." Amina wanted to say more. But before she could speak, the woman stood up. "Thank you, dear child," she said. She picked up her basket and began to walk away. Amina blinked. When she opened her eyes, the woman was gone. Completely vanished. In the middle of the road. No footsteps. No sound. Just gone. Amina ran back to Nyako's house. She needed answers. "You said the first bride holds the key," Amina said, breathing hard. "Who is she? What is her name?" Nyako sat in silence for a moment. Then she spoke. Her name was Zelina. Amina waited. Zelina was Mama Sua's apprentice, Nyako continued. She learned sewing from her. They were close like mother and daughter. But then Zelina fell in love. With who? Amina asked. With Mama Sua's son, Nyako said. They wanted to marry. But Mama Sua refused. She said Zelina was not good enough. She said her son deserved better. Zelina was heartbroken. She cried for days. Then one night, she disappeared. People said she ran away. But I knew the truth. Mama Sua killed her. Amina felt cold. Why? She whispered. Jealousy. Anger. Pain, Nyako said. And after that, Mama Sua learned dark magic. She bound Zelina's soul into her first red carpet. And she has been taking brides ever since. How do I stop it? Amina asked. Nyako looked at her with empty eyes. You must find Zelina's remains. Only then can you undo this. That night, Amina waited until the village was asleep. Then she went to Mama Sua's house. She climbed through a back window into the sewing room. The room smelled like old cloth and herbs. Shelves were filled with thread and fabric. But Amina was looking for something else. She got on her hands and knees. She felt along the floor. Then she found it. One wooden plank was loose. She pulled it up carefully. Beneath the floor was a hidden space. Inside was a small shrine. There were pieces of old cloth. Bones. And in the center, a beautiful comb shaped like a heart. Amina reached for it. The moment her fingers touched the comb, it began to pulse. Like it had a heartbeat. Warm light came from it. Amina pulled it out and held it close. This was it. This belonged to Zelina. Suddenly, she heard footsteps. Someone was coming. Amina shoved the comb into her wrapper and put the wooden plank back. She crawled toward the window. But the footsteps got closer. She barely made it out before the door opened. Amina ran back to the forest hut. Her heart was pounding. She held the comb tight in her hands. It was still warm. Still pulsing like it was alive. She did not know what to do with it. Then she remembered the river. Nyako once told her that spirits speak near water. Amina walked through the dark forest until she reached the river. The moon was bright. The water was calm. She knelt by the edge and placed the comb on a flat rock. "Zelina," she whispered. "If you can hear me, please come. I need your help." At first, nothing happened. Then the water began to move. Ripples formed even though there was no wind. A mist rose from the river. And in the mist, a figure appeared. It was a young woman. She wore a torn wedding dress. Her face was beautiful but sad. "You found my comb," the spirit said. Her voice sounded like wine through leaves. "Are you Zelina?" Amina asked. The spirit nodded. "Help me stop Mama Sua," Amina begged. But Zelina only smiled sadly. "Weave what was cut," she said. Then she faded back into the mist. The comb stopped glowing. Amina was alone again. Amina did not understand. Weave what was cut. What did it mean? She sat by the river thinking. Then it came to her. Mama Sua had cut Zelina's life short. She had cut her future. Her love. Her wedding. Maybe Amina needed to weave something new. Something to reverse the curse. Amina took the comb and pulled out one of her own hairs. It was long and black. She wrapped it around the comb's teeth. Then she pulled a single red thread from the cursed carpet she had brought with her. She twisted her hair and the thread together. As she worked, she whispered Zelina's name over and over. "Zelina. Zelina. Zelina." The thread began to glow. Soft at first. Then brighter. It turned from red to gold. Amina kept weaving until she had a single long strand. When she was done, she held it up to the moonlight. The thread sparkled like fire. She touched it to a piece of the cursed carpet. The cursed fabric hissed and pulled away. The new thread had power. It could fight the curse. Amina smiled for the first time in days. She had hope. Amina knew what she had to do. She had to take the glowing thread back to the village. She had to place it on the red carpet in front of everyone. That was the only way to break the spell. She waited until the next evening when the market was busy. She sneaked into the village square where the red carpet was kept. People were walking around, but no one noticed her. She unfolded the carpet carefully. Then she laid the golden thread across it in the shape of a circle. A protection symbol. The thread sank into the fabric like water into sand. Then something amazing happened. When the moon rose, the thread began to burn. Not with fire, but with light. The symbol glowed bright gold on the red carpet. Amina stepped back and watched. It was working. But then she heard a voice behind her. "Too late, child." Amina turned. Mama Sua stood there. She was not smiling anymore. Her face looked old and twisted. "You think one thread can undo 20 years of power?" Mama Sua said. She laughed. It was a cold, ugly sound. "The wedding will happen tomorrow. And you will step on that carpet. Whether you want to or not." The next morning, drums began to play. The whole village gathered again. Amina's family came to get her from the forest. "It is time," her father said. He looked tired and sad. Amina wanted to run. But she knew running would not help. She had to face this. She had to finish what she started. They dressed her in the wedding clothes. The same dress. The same veil. Everything Mama Sua had made. Amina's hands shook as they walked her to the village square. The red carpet was there, waiting. The groom stood at the other end. He looked confused and nervous. The crowd went silent as Amina approached. She could see the golden thread still glowing faintly inside the carpet. But Mama Sua was right. It was not enough. Not yet. Amina took a deep breath. She started walking toward the carpet. Her mother cried. Her father held her hand and then let go. This was it. Amina reached the edge of the carpet. She looked down. The symbols were moving again, faster now. They wanted her. Just before her foot touched the red fabric, Amina dropped something. The golden thread fell from her hand onto the carpet. The moment the thread touched the carpet, everything changed. The carpet began to shake. It twisted and moved like a snake. People screamed and stepped back. The red fabric split open. And from inside came voices. Dozens of voices. All women. All crying. "Help us. Free us. We are still here." The voices were the lost brides. Ife. Abina. Kemi. Yatund. Neka. Zainab. All of them trapped inside the carpet. Their souls woven into the threads. The crowd froze in horror. Even the chief could not speak. Amina felt tears running down her face. "I hear you," she whispered. "I will free you." But then Mama Sua pushed through the crowd. Her face was red with anger. She raised her hands and began to chant. Old words. Dark words. The air grew heavy. The voices of the brides began to fade. They were being pulled back into the carpet. "No!" Amina shouted. She grabbed the golden thread from the ground. It burned her hand, but she held on. Mama Sua's chanting grew louder. The two powers fought. Light against darkness. The whole village watched, unable to move. Then the wind stopped. Everything went quiet. A cold mist filled the square. And from the mist, she came. Zelina. Her spirit rose above the carpet, tall and glowing. She wore her torn wedding dress, but now it shone like starlight. The entire village gasped. "Zelina?" Mama Sua whispered. Her face went pale. "Yes, teacher," Zelina said. Her voice was soft but strong. "You killed me because I loved your son. You took my life. You took my wedding. And then you took the lives of 6 more innocent women." The crowd turned to look at Mama Sua. "No," Mama Sua said, shaking her head. "You ran away. You left me." "I did not run," Zelina said. "You poisoned my food the night before my wedding. You buried me beneath your sewing room floor. And you used my hair, my bones, my soul to create your first cursed carpet. People began to shout. Is this true? The chief asked. Mama Sua said nothing. Her hands were shaking. Zelina pointed at her. You have bound 7 souls including mine. But tonight, it ends. Then Zelina screamed. It was a sound of pain and rage that shook the ground. And Mama Sua began to change. Mama Sua's body twisted. Her skin began to unravel like thread. Pieces of fabric fell from her arms. Beneath her skin was not blood, but cloth. Red thread and black hair woven together. She was not fully human anymore. She had sewn her own soul into the cursed work. What has she become? Someone screamed. Mama Sua's eyes turned white. Her mouth opened, but no human sound came out. Only the hissing of thread being pulled tight. She had given herself to the dark magic. And now the magic had taken over. She lunged toward Amina with hands like claws. Amina fell backward. The golden thread dropped from her hand. Mama Sua grabbed it and tried to tear it apart. But the thread would not break. It burned her fingers. She screamed in pain and rage. The crowd ran in fear. Only Amina, the chief, and a few elders stayed. Zelina's spirit floated above them all. Amina, Zelina called. The comb. Use the comb. Amina remembered. She reached into her wrapper and pulled out Zelina's heart-shaped comb. It glowed brighter than ever. Cut the heart thread, Zelina said. It connects us all. Cut it, and we are free. Amina did not know how, but her body knew what to do. She ran toward Mama Sua. The old woman, now half thread and half flesh, tried to strike her. But Amina dodged. She could see it now. A single glowing thread coming from Mama Sua's chest. It split into 7 smaller threads that stretched out into the air. Each thread connected to a trapped soul. Zelina. Ife. Abina. Kemi. Yatund. Neka. Zainab. This was the heart thread. The source of the curse. Amina raised the comb high. Forgive me, she whispered. Then she brought it down and cut the glowing thread. The sound was like thunder. Mama Sua screamed and collapsed. Her body turned to ash and dust. The red carpet exploded into 1,000 pieces that floated into the air like smoke. And one by one, the spirits of the brides appeared. They were glowing. They were free. Zelina smiled at Amina. Thank you, she said. You broke the chain. Then, like soft rain, the spirits faded into light and rose into the sky. Amina fell to her knees. Tears poured down her face. It was over. They were free. But freedom has a price. Amina lay on the ground, too weak to move. The golden thread had burned into her palm, leaving a scar shaped like a star. She felt different. Lighter. But also empty. Elder Nyako came to her side. You did it, child, Nyako said. But the magic has marked you. Amina looked at her hand. The scar glowed faintly. What does it mean? She asked. Nyako touched her face gently. You carry a piece of the protective thread now. It lives in you. You will never be harmed by dark magic again. But you can never marry. If you do, the thread will wake. And it will take you the way the curse once took others. Amina closed her eyes. She thought of her groom. He was kind. He loved her. But she could never be his wife. Not now. Not ever. I understand, she said quietly. Her mother ran to her, crying. My daughter, my brave daughter. The village was silent. The red carpet was gone. Only ash remained. Amina stood slowly. She looked at the pile of dust that was once Mama Sua. Then she looked at the sky where the spirits had gone. It was a bittersweet victory. She had saved them all. But she had lost her own future. Months passed. The village changed. People no longer spoke Mama Sua's name. They burned all her cloth and garments. From that day on, brides walked on white carpets, woven by honest hands. No more red. No more secrets. Amina became a weaver, just like Zelina had been. She learned from Elder Nyako. Together, they made cloth that protected instead of harmed. People came from far villages to buy fabric from the bride who refused. They did not know the full story. But they knew she was wise. She was brave. And her hands carried light. Amina never married. But she was not sad. She had purpose. She had peace. And every evening, she would sit by the river and speak to Zelina's spirit. Sometimes, in the water's reflection, she saw all 7 brides standing behind her. Smiling. Free. One day, a young girl asked her, "Why did you refuse to step on the red carpet?" Amina smiled. "Because I listened when no one else would." The girl did not understand. But one day, she would. If only they knew why the bride refused to step on the red carpet, they would have listened sooner. The story you have just heard is a beautiful African tale I heard long ago. I am telling you to wake your minds to the truth that courage is not about being fearless. It is about listening to your spirit even when the whole world doubts you. Sometimes, the red carpet looks beautiful, but beneath it lies danger. Trust your eyes. Trust your heart. If you were Amina, what would you do when everyone called you crazy for seeing the truth? I want to know your opinion because every story is like a candle that can light the path for someone else. God bless you, and may courage guide your hands. Meanwhile, on the final screen, I am leaving you with one of the channel's most beloved folktales. I am sure you will love it. Thank you for staying with me until this moment.